What's up? Brandon Lilly here. Going to be doing something new from now on. It's going to be just 3 questions at a time, once a day. And today, the first 3 questions that popped in, one was from Jack. His first question is, what are your thoughts on the Zercher squat harness as a squat deadlift accessory exercise? And what about for max effort? I think anything that will strengthen your back, will strengthen your legs, in an effective manner and challenge you out of position. That's one of the things that the Zercher does really well, especially the harness. It tends to put the bar just a little bit forward, a little bit in an unnatural position, which makes you pull through, an awkward point. And that's one of the things that Chuck Vogelpohl was really, really big on with me, or impressing upon me, was that if you can get stronger a little bit out of position, when you're in perfect position, your lift's going to be that much easier. So I think the Zercher is a very, very good tool. I don't think that it should be a max effort exercise, just because I believe that, bars, guys are going to differ with this opinion of mine, but this is something that I've found for myself. So I'm telling you from my experience. I'm not saying this is fact. I'm not saying this is the best. I'm saying this is the best for me. Bars like the safety squat bar, the cambered bar, the Zercher harness, front squats, those things tend to work better for my body as a builder, in the 5 to 10 rep range. That way I'm actually getting some muscle stimulation, some muscle growth, and I'm not breaking my body down in such a way like good mornings. That's a really, really awesome exercise, but I think one of the things that guys tend to do is they tend to go too heavy on it, and they're not actually building anything. They're just testing things. They're testing, not only their spine strength, but the ligaments and tendons and things like that. I see a lot of injuries from guys going too heavy when you're actually wanting to increase the ability to maximize the back development and back power. Do that through moderate weight range. Moderate weight ranges. I've seen great effect for myself. With an 800 squat and 800 deadlift, using 275 up to 365 for reps. And some of these guys that do some amazing things, 500, 600, 700 pound good mornings, that's all well and good. It's just not something that I've found to be effective for me. I've done it, I've tried it, and I can't say that I've ever been stronger than I am right now. And I'm really going away from that type of training. I'm doing a lot more rep work with moderate weight on those type exercises, and I think that's going to be the best benefit for the Zercher harness. Things in the 5 to 10 rep range, maybe even a little bit beyond. If you're feeling really good and up for it, especially if you have the longer extension on it, and you can kind of get in a sumo position, a true sumo position, I think you can build some power on maybe some threes or something like that. But I would never do singles or anything less than a 3. Try to optimize between 5 and 10 reps with that particular device or any of the other specialty bars. Next question comes from Joe. The best way to build an arch? Very similar answer to what I just gave Jack. If you're actually trying to build a muscle, we are trying to build maximum power, which is for 1 rep. But, what you have to do is you have to develop those muscles slowly to be able to hold maximum weight for 1 rep. So when I'm doing things for the arch, I like strict arch back good mornings. This is something that one of my training partners, Caitlin Trout, does without fail after her squats and deadlifts. She really, really dedicates to a hard arch. And as soon as her body would start to tip forward, she reverses the weight as hard as she can. And she does anywhere from 3s to 12 on those. And that's, again, on the good morning, and that's what I found to be really effective there. Something else is just learning how to squat properly. I see so many guys with terrible hand position. Their hands are out really wide, and all that comes from immobility. Shoulder immobility. Get your shoulders mobile. Do things for them. I mean, if I can do it, certainly everyone else can do it. And I've had shoulder injuries, and I've had lots of complications with shoulder mobility. But I dedicated to getting my hands in a better position on the squat. And I also dedicated to strengthening my shoulders, doing a lot of individualized shoulder work, overhead presses, the mobility work. Start with getting a good position, getting your hands in closer, being able to rotate the clavicle forward, picking your chest up and also squeezing the back together, that's going to automatically help your arch. It's going to maintain a good starting position in the arch. The lower back, good things for that are back raises, whether you're doing, one of the things that I like to do is just a simple good morning with the bands to really hit the lower back, a 45-degree back raise. Or there, and again, you could use the Zercher harness. That's really something that's really good for the lower back as well. But it's not like there's not one thing, because the arch is a puzzle piece of body parts. It's not just one chain or one muscle group. You got to have good traps. You need to have good lats. You need to have shoulder mobility to work the shoulder joint to get the shoulders back. I would argue that you need to have a very, very strong core. If you can't push your stomach out and have the abs to support your upper chest, you're just going to collapse on yourself every time. So it's a multitude of exercises. Probably the best would be the arch back good mornings, back raises, and a strong core work. For me, going beltless on the squat and the deadlift has been the best thing I've ever done for my core, and I really try to impress that upon people. If they don't like going beltless, I understand, but what you have to understand about me is I didn't try to maintain 95% when I went beltless. I dropped back to 405 on my deadlifts, which is right now around 50%, and just started working up from there, doing sets of 6, 8, 10, whatever I could do, and slowly adding weight back. So I was building those muscles slowly, and then I was compensating whenever I would get heavier, on the weight. I built those muscles to handle that kind of load. It wasn't something that I just said, okay, I'm going to take my belt off and I'm going to deadlift or squat 700 pounds. I built up to that, and that's the same thing for your arch. Sometimes going backwards and working those individual muscles slowly and in lesser weight ranges than what you actually expect to do is what's going to help you the most. It's not, powerlifting that I've learned is not always a straightforward approach. It's a lot of backwards to go forward. So that's really the best answer I have about that. But first, look at your squat position and see if you can even get in a good squat position. That would be the first place I would look, and then start breaking down the muscles that need the work. Last question is from Cliff. What is the best advice you've gotten towards lifting and then towards life? The best advice I've gotten towards lifting is kind of the best advice I've gotten towards life. Is, I can't remember right off the top of my head who said it, but I've heard the saying that 80% of success is just showing up. And that's really, it's kind of been the motto for myself. There's been times where I've had lags in training where I've not seen any progress at times. I made reference in an article or video the other day where I said, I didn't progress on the deadlift for 2 years. And, not even 1 pound. I was trying for a 5-pound PR for 2 years, and it went nowhere, but I kept showing up. I kept training. I kept trying new things. I kept coming back. Even through all the frustration, I kept going. And finally, I found a way to start progressing again. And really, that's what it's about. I see a lot of guys that, I see guys from high school that I used to train with, or guys in college that I trained with, and like, man, how'd you do this, or how'd you do that, or I can't believe you're doing this. And, it's like, well, while you took that 3-month break to do whatever, I was still hitting the gym. Whenever you got your job and you thought that was too hard to work, when I was getting my job, I was training at 5 o'clock in the morning. I always adjusted to the gym so I could get there, so I could get my workout in. Even if the workouts weren't what I hoped they would be, I was still in there doing something. And, that's really the name of the game for me, is just showing up, having the attitude that nothing's going to stop me. And, Ayn Rand, who's a fantastic author, she has a quote that I actually have tattooed just above my heart. It says, "It's not a question of who will let me, it's who can stop me." And that's really what I live by. I understand that at least in the gym, and in most cases in life, I have the ability to control my outcome. There's always 2 paths. And I was actually talking with Travis Bell from Westside at really how close success and failure parallel one another. One choice this way You could be, the greatest guy in the world, and one choice this way, and you're an asshole. And it's all about choices. It's all about doing the things that will make you better, and being able to recognize when those, crossroads come, making the right path. I think as I've gotten older, I've really done a lot better job at becoming more, what's the word? I guess analytical about what I do. I used to be very impulsive. I used to be very reactionary, and it got me in a lot of trouble. Got me in a lot of fights and things like that. Just because it is what it is. When you're a guy and you're 20 years old and you think you can rule the world, you lead with maybe you think with the wrong head. Put it that way. But you have to grow up a little bit, and I think that's what I've done. And I've learned to look at myself and what I need and what I really want in life. And that's probably the best advice that I can give, is just don't always go with the first feeling that you get. Sit back and look at the situation. Look at how it could benefit you. Look at how it could set you back. But always, always, always show up. Make the effort to get to the gym. Make the effort to go the extra mile in life, to see what happens. So thank you guys. I ran a little bit longer yapping my jaws as I usually do, but I'll do this tomorrow, and as long as the questions keep coming, I'll keep answering them. Thank you guys for checking me out, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.